Hi, everyone. Welcome to another webinar. Today, we're going to be focusing on the culture and heritage of Sri Lanka with Sanka, our country director, who knows everything there is to know about Sri Lanka, so you're in good hands. Um, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to pop those in the little Q&A box, and we can get all those answered for you at the end. But I'll hand it over to Sanka to get into it.
Thanks, Ginger. Welcome, everyone. So today we'll be focusing on the culture and heritage side of Sri Lanka. And since there's like a lot that we will be covering, let me dive right in. So, as you know, when doing an itinerary for Sri Lanka, the weather plays a huge role in where you're gonna keep the clients for the last bit of their stay, which should always be like a beach stay. But we're not going to be talking about that. But I thought I would just mention a little bit about how the itinerary would work. So normally everybody would arrive in Colombo, and then if they are doing a round tour, it's going to be like a loop. So first they'll be going into the Culture Triangle, then Kandy, then take the train to the hill country, then for some safari, maybe in Yala, and then the south and western coast for the beach. So of course we do have like alternative places for the Yala National Park, and then Vilpattu, Kumana being those. So if you're interested in any of those topics, just get in touch with me, and I'll be happy to dive into details about those topics. So first of all, let's talk about the cultural triangle. So this is an area where it's mostly about the UNESCO World Heritage Sites and then some hidden gems as well. So one of the most important and then one of the best sellers when it comes to the experiences in our portfolio is a backroad cycling journey in Anuradhapura. So the guy who is doing this experience is an amazing historian. He knows everything that there is to know about the history of Anuradhapura and then in Sri Lanka in general as well. And if your clients do not like cycling, then of course let me know, because we can do the entire experience in a tuk-tuk as well. Then we do have the Sigiri Rock Fortress. So this is the most visited site in Sri Lanka. So as you can fathom, so this is going to be very crowded during the day. So if your clients want to definitely go and see Sigiri Rock Fortress, I would recommend going there very early in the morning. 5:30 in the morning, the gates open, and then we sometimes take our guests for the sunrise from the top of the rock as well, which is amazing. But if you try to go during the daytime, then of course, what we say is like, one, it's going to be hot, and then two, it's going to be very crowded as well. So I'll be talking about another rock fortress that we have in the area, which could be an alternative to Sigiriya. It's a lesser known rock fortress, but of course, Sigiriya has more to offer. Moving on, we do have Polonnaruwa ancient city, which is closer to Mineria. So if we are talking about Polonnaruwa versus Anuradhapura, if you ask me a question, which one is better, I would say Anuradhapura is predominantly a sacred city, which means there are so many temples, so many Lord Buddha statues. But Polonnaruwa is a miniature version of Anuradhapura, and it has a lot of cultural aspects to it as well, not just the religious aspect. So if your clients are interested in learning about the history and then the Buddhism, then of course definitely go to Anuradhapura. But Polonnaruwa is for those people who want to see the temples as well as the royal palaces of that era. So Polonnaruwa can be done within like 1.5, 2 hours, whereas Anuradhapura takes like 3 hours, 3.5 hours, depending on how interested you are. Then, of course, here comes one of the lesser known cultural sites in Sri Lanka. So, Aukana and Saserua. So, Aukana is a name of a Lord Buddha statue, which is shown in this shown in this picture. And then Saserua is another statue which is similar to this. So, there's a beautiful story in the history books about these two statues, where one king had the royal sculptor, and then he had a very good student. So the student was really good, and then he kept challenging the teacher. And then to solve this dispute, the king at that time said, let's do a contest. So both of you are gonna create two Lord Buddha statues, and then I will decide which one is better. So Aukana, the photo, the statue that you see in the photo, that was created by the master, and then Saseru was the one that the student created. So the master finished his work first, and then the student went and saw the master's work, and then he admitted defeat, saying that you are better. And sometimes when you go to Sasserua, you can see remnants of the statue not being finished because the student gave up and then he admitted defeat. That's why the Lord Buddha statue at Sasserua is only like 95% completed. Kaludiya Pokuna Forest Monastery. So this is closer to Anuradhapura in a place called Mihintale. So the forest monastery complexes are scattered around in Sri Lanka. So what happens is like in Buddhism, as you know, there are Buddhist monks. So there are two types of monks. One type is living in the villages, in towns, in temples, and then the other kind lives in forests and in caves. So these are the hermit type of monks. So what we do here is like we take our guests to the Khaldiya Pokuna monastery, which has a history of like 2,500 years. And then a hermit monk would be a host in this experience. It's a very hands-on experience where the monk would be taking you to very exclusive areas where locals are not allowed, because in this area everybody needs to be quiet because there are like monks meditating in caves. It's like a very zen like place that we have. Another monastery that we focus on is called Ritigala. So Ritigala is actually a mountain that we have to climb. So it's not very hard. So as you can see, the road is a little bit uneven, but getting to the top is like easy. So actually you can't get to the top part of the Ritigala monastery because the top part is reserved. I mean, like it's because of the flora and fauna being very delicate. Nobody is allowed to go to that area, but you can go to like halfway point where there are like ruins, and then it's like a very how should I say it, very spiritual type of a journey. So it's not for everyone. I mean, like if somebody says I want to go and see some cultural sites, then of course we would have to go a little bit further and try to explain Ritikala Monastery because there are not a lot of ruins. It's the story that is there, and then the Zen kind of vibe locations when it comes to meditation. So sometimes, if the clients are interested in meditation, then of course we take them to the monastery as well. Then moving on to UNESCO Dambul Cave Temple. So a lot of people know about this place. So there are five caves at the top of the rock. It's a very easy climb as well, just 20 minutes to the top, and then maybe you'll be spending like 1 hour at the top. So within like a couple of hours, you can finish off this experience. So I mean, like normally what we do is when we are taking clients from Colombo to the Cultural Triangle, before we check the clients into the hotel, we would let them enjoy the Dambula Cave Temple. Madirigiriya Watadage. So this is a lesser known place, so closer to Polonnaruwa actually. So if you're going to Polonnaruwa, then of course you can take a small detour and then go and visit this place. So the beauty of this place is like these type of Watadages. Watadages means are like, as you can see, it's like a circular shaped area with columns. There are three of these Watadages still remaining from the ancient times of the country. So this is one of them. The second one is in Polonnaruwa, and then the third one is in Trincomalee. So the Trincomalee one we'll be talking about later on. So this is the best preserved Watadage that we have in Sri Lanka. And then around this Watadage is a very active Buddhist temple. So you would be able to, it's not just a ruin site. So when your clients go there, you will be able to see some really good, example of how Buddhism is practiced. Like people are meditating, people are walking and then meditating. So a lot of a lot of activity is happening around this area. This is Yapaho Rock Fortress. So Yapaho Rock Fortress is the alternative that I told you to Sigiri Rock Fortress. So this is actually another climb. So as you can see, this is only a little part of the climb that you have to make. Once you go to the top, amazing views of the area. As you can see, there are two lion statues, which are like very prominent because these type of lion statues can be found only in Yapahua, because Yapahua was an ancient kingdom of Sri Lanka for a short period of time. And then these lions are like the symbol of that ancient kingdom, where your clients can stay while they are in the cultural triangle. So Ulagalla would be our go-to place because all the rooms are private plunge pools. They have two-bedroom units. This is a Nikavava two-bedroom unit that they have right in front of a paddy field. Amazing room. And then they do have the deluxe pool villas where in the living room you can put two additional beds, ideal for families of like 4 people. Okay, so moving on to Trincomalee, which is on the eastern part of the country. So this is predominantly Tamil and Hindu culture. So I mean, like we locals, we love going to the eastern part of Sri Lanka or the northern part of Sri Lanka because it's so different. Culturally, it's different. The food is different. The language is different. So I mean, like when your clients go there, they can immediately see. I mean, like it's not the normal Lord Buddha statues or Buddhist temples that they've been seeing all around the country. This is completely different. So Koneshwaram Temple is one of the oldest Hindu kovils that we have in Asia, and it is located inside the Fort Frederick, which I'll be talking about in the next slide. So Fort Frederick was built by the Portuguese, then expanded by the Dutch, and then the British, I mean, like occupied the place after all as well. So just to give you an idea about the colonization history of Sri Lanka, so in 1505, the Portuguese got marooned. One ship got marooned. They were looking for India, and then they came to Gaul, and then they found out that this is where all the cinnamon comes to the world, because cinnamon is native to Sri Lanka. All the cinnamon in the world comes from Sri Lanka. So they occupied Sri Lanka for 150 years. Then came Dutch, 148 years, and then afterwards it was the British. So for about 450 years of our history, three different nations were occupying, and then these forts are like their gifts to us, because they wanted a place to keep all their treasures secure, and then they started building all these forts around the island. This is the Tiriyaya Watadage, one of the three Watadages I've been talking about. So this is in Trincomalee. You have to climb to the top, which has around 200 steps, 250 steps, if I'm not mistaken. So anybody with a walking disability will not be able to get here, but it is an amazing off the beaten track place that we have. Because as you know, a lot of people go to Trincomalee just for like a beach stay, and the Trincomalee beach stay happens from May to October. So if the clients say, okay, I want to mix beach with a little bit of culture, a little bit of activities, then of course Thiriyaya Watadage would be an ideal place to visit. Uga Jungle Beach is the best property that we have on the East Coast in Trincomalee. So one thing about the East Coast is like on the East Coast cities like Trincomalee, Pasikuda, Arugambe, there are no five-star luxury properties. I mean, like if you say Amans, the Tea Trails are the five-star luxury properties, there are no five-star properties on the East Coast. Just keep that in mind when you're doing an itinerary. So I chose this photo specifically because this is the jungle cluster. So there are three of these rooms in three different corners. And then in the middle, as you can see, there is a large pool. So if you have like a family or friends traveling together, then of course this will be like an ideal unit that you can book. So you don't have to book all three units if you just want one room. You can book just one room. But then we need to tell the clients that the swimming pool will be shared by two other rooms. And then, of course, they do have like the main pool of the property as well. Okay, so moving on to another eastern city, Galloya. So Galloya has one of the best preserved, lesser known ruined cities in Sri Lanka. So Rajagala Monastery, so let me take you back like 1,500, 2,000 years back in history, where there was this king who wanted to build another Polonnaruwa type of city. And then he started building another ancient city. Halfway through, civil war broke off, and then he had to go and attend to that civil war. So he had to forget about his crown jewel of a city, and then today 2000, I mean, like 2000 years later, we have this amazing ancient city just slumbering in the wild. So the archaeological department is digging everything up from in, I mean, like under the earth, and then relocating it above. And now we have more than 1,000 acres of ruins with amazing history. So if your clients say, I don't want to go to Anuradhapura, I don't want to go to Polonnaruwa, then of course Rajagala Monastery would be one of the best places that they can go. On the east coast towards Galoya, we have the forest dwellers called the Vaddas. These are the Aborigines people that we have living in Sri Lanka. We do a lot of activities. If you are promoting Galoya Lodge, we have like culinary sessions with them, walkabouts with them. It's a different type of experience that we have. This is Galoy Lodge, very eco-friendly, no air conditioning based, I mean, like due to their sustainability concept. They do have several rooms with private plunge pools. They have a villa, which is a two-bedroom unit. And another thing that we always tell to the guests is like the washroom, part of the washroom area is open to sky, which means there could be like in a couple of insects, just flying around in the washroom, just to like make sure that we meet the expectations of the clients. The food is amazing, the ranges are really good, and then they do have like a boat safari that they can do as well. Okay, so moving on to Kandy. So the main highlight of the Kandy city is the Temple of the Tooth. So the city of Kandy itself is a UNESCO World Heritage City. So the UNESCO label is a collection of 64 buildings. So Temple of the Tooth is one of those buildings. So I mean, like if you have been to Kandy, you might know places like the Royal Bayan Hotel, then of course Queen's Hotel. So these are like the another like examples for the UNESCO protected buildings. Collectively, they form the UNESCO Sacred City of Kandy. So the Temple of the Tooth relic, just like the name says, the Lord Buddha's tooth relic is housed here, hence the name. And then we do have a Candy City walk with a resident expert. So he's a really nice guy, funny, and then he has amazing stories. So one thing we try to do with the Candy City walk is like focus on the myths and legends, the local lifestyles, because by the time the clients come to Kandy after like visiting places like Anuradhapura, Polonnaruwa, Dambulla, Sigiriya, they would have enough and enough of temples and temples and temples, and we don't want to like push more temples, push more history into them. So if they want, then of course, definitely we can do it. But we try to keep it as fun, and then going into a bit of an eccentric home called Helga's Folly. So it's like a Halloween place all year round, but it's a local who is living there. So very interesting character. And yeah, that's one of our top sellers when it comes to the experiences in Kandy. The Kandy Asalapera is a festival that is happening in Kandy during the months of maybe late July or early August. The dates depend on the Poya days that we have happening every month. And here, this is one of the oldest festivals in the world because the history dates back to the 3rd century BC. Of course, the Perahara procession had so many changes throughout these centuries, but still the core values and then the reason for them to go on this Perahara festival still remains the same. One of our top sellers for Kandy would be Santani Wellness. So, of course, we do have the likes of Adiga Manor, Kings Pavilion, W15 located closer to the city of Kandy. But we like to take the clients outside the city because this is one of the best wellness centers that we have in the entire Asian region. So the original Santani property is adults only. Why I said the original Santani property is because they are now creating Santani 2.0, which is going to be a collection of pool villas, like 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom kind of pool villas, where they are going to be focusing on families So kids are going to be loved. They're going to have separate rooms for nannies, highly luxurious, but they're going to be building a separate spa just for Santani 2.0 as well. Okay, so the hill country. So when it comes to the hill country, it's predominantly about tea and then the beautiful scenery, kayaking, hiking. So culture is a little bit less when it comes to the hill country, but there are a couple of places that I'll be talking about. But there's nothing major and wow that we can focus on when it comes to culture and heritage. So if your clients are looking for a huge culturally rich program, then I would say go for the Sigiri area, the Kandy area, and then Gaul, which we'll be talking about later on as well. So one of the few cultural and heritage areas that we have in the hill country is the Nazareth Chapel. So this is in a small town called Bandaravela, and then this is closer to Allah, if you don't know where Bandaravela is at. So this was built by Jeffrey Bauer, so one of the best architects in Asia. So he was from Sri Lanka. He died in 2003. Some of his best works are like scattered around the country, like Lunaganga, then Gallery Cafe, Jetwin Lighthouse, Silvan Benthata, then Hayton's Kandalama. So these are some of his work. I mean, like even the Sri Lanka Parliament was built by him. So Nazareth Chapel, why it is unique is because this is the only church that Jeffrey Bauer built in his entire life. So it's a very small, very unique temple that we have in the hill capital. So Totalagala would be the ideal place for the clients to be. Of course, there are like Reliance Chateau, then teardrop hotels in the hill country. But why we like Totalagala is because of the way they structure the rates. So while all the others are going for the all-inclusive offers, of course, if the clients have the budget, then of course that would be okay. But then, of course, Totlagala is going with a strategy where they are focusing on bed and breakfast, which is really good. So, because you're getting a luxury bungalow, luxury facilities, the rooms are amazing, but at the BB rates. So, yeah, and it is in it is in Haputale, which means the driving from Haputale to Yala is not very long. So you are shaving off like 2 hours of driving if your clients are staying over at Norelia or in Hatton. Okay, so moving on to the southern and western part of the country. So we do have the Mulkirigala Cave Temple. So Mulkirigala Cave Temple is located closer to Tangol, actually. So what we have here is like an alternative to Dambulla Cave Temple. So everybody knows about Dambulla Cave Temple, and then because of that, a lot of tourists go there. But Mulkirigala Cave Temple is something similar because there are 7 painted caves in Mulkirigala, whereas there are only 5 painted caves in Dambulla. So it is something similar to Dambulla. Like I said, you have to climb the rock. There is a little bit of the last bit of the rock climb is a little bit risky. It doesn't mean that you're going to fall down, but we always tell, like if we have like elderly couples or people with walking disabilities, this would not be the place. But for young clients, adventurous clients who want to go and see beautiful rock cave temple without any clients, this would be the ideal place to be. Then we do have the UNESCO Golf Fort. So this is very famous, right at the tip of the coast. And then we do have like, so this is more of a old town that we have like Tallinn, like Edinburgh, cobblestones, very narrow streets, amazing boutique shops, restaurants that stay open very late in the night. And it is a totally different vibe that you would find from the other parts of the Sri Lankan cities. Moving on inside the Golf Fort, we have an experience called the mask carving and painting. So the mask carving and painting happens in a temple inside Golf Fort, and then before we start the experience, a Buddhist monk will be blessing the clients, and then it's a beautiful experience that we have of the monk blessing. And then afterwards, the clients can choose either to carve a fresh block of wood or else like paint the faces. I mean, like, we can do both, but it's going to take a long time for them to finish the whole exercise. Another point about the mask carving and painting is this is very famous with families. Kids love to paint these masks and take whatever the works that they have done home with them, and then ideal for the couples as well. Another property by Jeffrey Bauer. I was talking about Jeffrey Bauer and his church. So this was his country estate actually. So he was very fascinated about Lake Como in Italy, and then he wanted to build a paradise like that in Sri Lanka. So he bought different, plots of land, and then he bought that land across the water, and it is an island actually. So he just bought it, and then he just left it there so that nobody could build anything which would ruin his view from his country estate home. So what we have today is like teardrop hotels managing the property, amazing rooms. They recently added a swimming pool to the place as well. And then people who are not going to be staying there, they can do garden tours as well. So they have like set times, and then the clients can enjoy really good food like lunches, evening high teas, or such. So Lunaganga is ideal for weddings if you have any clients who are looking at wedding tours as well. Okay, so in Gaul, we do have the Gaul Literary Festival. So the Gaul Literary Festival is one of the best festivals that we have in Sri Lanka, because this is actually a very fun festival as well. So this is just one location that you can see in the photo. So some areas would have like live music, and then people dancing, food stalls, different types of Sri Lankan cuisines, and then chats about books. And then book launches will be happening, and then authors from around the world will come, and then they would be hosting like lunches, dinners for people who are like interested in their work. So it's a very interactive and then very hands-on type of festival that happens in Gaul during either January or February. So it is like a 3 full day experience. So if your clients are coming into Sri Lanka during these days, then of course I would highly recommend that we let the clients take part in these festivals. The six is one of the best properties that we have on the southern part of Sri Lanka. So what we tell our guests is like, if you have any clients who are really interested in surfing, then of course go to six. Uh, every villa has 4 bedrooms. Some have 3 bedrooms at the first floor, 1 bedroom down. Some villas have like 2 bedrooms up, 2 bedrooms down. So the interior is like a little bit different. The color schemes are different because just like the name says, it's a collection of 6 villas. Each villa has 4 bedrooms, sauna, steam rooms, and then each villa has a private pool as well. And like I said, for surfers, it's ideal because you just walk out of your room and then start surfing kind of a beach that they have. So this is closer to Veligama, but actually speaking, it is in a small surfing village called Midigama. Okay, so Colombo. So coming to Colombo, what we have is like a collection of amazing experiences. So Colombo is highly underrated, I would say, because not a lot of people know what they can do. Everybody thinks it's just like a commercial city. You just go looking around some buildings. No, art and architectural tour that we have in Colombo is one of the best experiences that we have. First, the clients would be going into the home of a local artist, then having a chat with him, or sometimes his wife would be hosting as well. Both of them are local artists, and then talking about what inspired them, and then for talking about the 43 group actually. So the 43 group is very interesting because why? Because the 43 group was just like the name suggests, it was formed in 1943, but these were like-minded people in Sri Lanka who got together for the revival of the art, then the architecture. So the best of the best minds of that era got together and created this amazing group, which brought the likes of the cultural dance shows that we see, the batik industry that we see, the barefoot gallery. So likewise, every cultural and heritage item that we see in a mass scale was started by the 43 group. So if you want to know a little bit about this group of people who got together, then of course the art and architectural tour of Colombo would be the ideal place to be, because they'll be visiting a couple of private art galleries as well. One of them is like Sapumal Foundation, one of the best collection of art in Sri Lanka. Then we do have the Colombo Tuk Tuk Tour with a resident expert. So the Tuk Tuk tours are done by several suppliers, and now depending on how many people are there, depending on what type of clients they are, we have different suppliers, because some of the hosts are like very active, very fun, and then they have the Bluetooth speakers at the back. The clients would be like having the music blasting with a glass of beer in their hand. But then, of course, there are elderly couples who are like really interested in learning about the colonization aspect. So we have historians who will be driving the tuk-tuk and then taking the guests around. So in Colombo also, we do have a Perahera festival, just like the Perahera festival that we have in Kandy. So as you can see, there are so many different festivals that are happening. I'll be talking about another festival in a little bit as well. And I would highly recommend mixing these festivals with the activities that you will be having when creating an itinerary for Sri Lanka. So for Colombo, we have Ish Colombo, which is a 4-bedroom property that we have in the heart of the city. The downside of Colombo is like we don't have a lot of 5-star luxury boutique properties. Ish Colombo is there, Mani Ampati is there, but those are the only two properties that we have. We do have like the Cinnamon Life, Shangri-La, those kind of larger properties. But then, of course, the rooms are nice. It looks luxurious, but the properties are so huge. It attracts lots of large groups. So, yeah. Moving on, Jaffna. I thought I would include Jaffna here as well because of this. So, a couple of weeks back, Jaffna was recognized by Lonely Planet as one of the top 25 cities to visit in the world for next year. So, this was a great recognition for the Northern Kingdom of Sri Lanka. So, Jaffna, I mean, like, I put this pot of Jaffna crab curry because that's why people love Jaffna. The food is different. I mean, like the ruins are there, but food plays an amazing role in promoting Jaffna as well, because the spices that they use and then the way they cook it is so different from what you would find in the other parts of the country. So the Jaffna city has so many ruin places. So the first thing that you have to understand when promoting Jaffna is like the city of Jaffna doesn't have any places where they charge you like $25, $30 entrance fee tickets. So this is still off the beaten track. Not a lot of tourists would go there. So it doesn't, I mean, like it's not on the radar for a lot of people. So which means when you send your clients there, they would have that raw, authentic experience, and then they wouldn't have like beach boys or like people trying to sell stuff. So it is kind of a authentic experience that you would get when you're in this part of the country. So Jaffna being on the northern part of the country, how we can promote Jaffna are like several ways are there. So from Colombo, you can take a train which takes like 6 hours, and there's an early morning train that goes around 6 o'clock, and by around noon you're there. So they have first class train tickets, second and third class tickets as well. Or else what you can do is like I wouldn't recommend driving directly from Colombo to Jaffna because it's too long. It's going to take like 10 hours. So don't do that. So what you could do is like take the clients from Colombo to the Culture Triangle, maybe keep them somewhere close to Anuradhapura, and then from there drive to Jaffna, which is just 5 hours drive. And then closer to Jaffna, we have Mana as well. I haven't included Mana because it's going to take like so much of time to talk about all these small cities. But let me know if you are interested in Mana, because that's where you might have heard like the Pearl of the Indian Ocean, kind of a name for Sri Lanka. So the pearls of Sri Lanka were in the city of Mana. Let me know if you are interested, and I can tell you more about the city of Mana. But coming back to Jaffna, so why I talked about Mana is like you can include Mana en route to Jaffna as well. Because from Mana, it's 2.5 to 3 hours drive to Jaffna. So you can do a little bit of Mana and then go and stay in Jaffna. So why Jaffna is famous is because for several reasons. So there is this pilgrimage walk that happens in the months of July and August. So it is a 2 month walk. I mean, like, it's crazy. So all the way from the northern tip of Sri Lanka, they're going to be walking all the way down to the southern part of Sri Lanka, all the way from Jaffna all the way to Kataragama, which is closer to Yala. There are locals, thousands of locals every year. They walk. So they walk along the eastern coast of the country as I mean, like, it's a pilgrimage walk for the god Kataragama. So it's a local deity that we have in Sri Lanka. And then they would carry everything, like the pots, and then all the food, water. So it's an amazing journey that we have, but unfortunately, it's like very rugged. It takes you through like very harsh areas, like through forests, through national parks. Unless otherwise your clients have like an ultra extreme budget, like very very high end budget, we can't like promote this. Why I said for very high end budgets we can promote it is because we can bring in the mobile tented camps into different areas. I mean, like, we are talking like $1,000, $2,000 a night kind of accommodation. Then like, that would be like an amazing experience for the clients. So apart from that, we do have like the Nallur Kovil, which I'll be talking about later on. The photo here is of the Jaffna Fort. So Jaffna Fort, again, another fort built by the Portuguese, then Dutch, and then taken over by the British. So Jaffna is famous again for the civil war that we had in Sri Lanka as well. So there's nothing like riskier in going to this part of the country. I mean, the war ended in 2009. It has been peaceful, so I've been going there like every year. So it's amazing place to be. So why I was talking about the Civil War was because this was one of the places that was occupied during the Civil War. And then during that time, I mean, like when the terrorists were occupying this area, the Jaffna city had their own currency, they had their own banks, they had their own police. It's like two different countries. So these are like amazing stories that we can share with the clients. Look here, even though you're in one country, at one point in time, they operated, they had their own government, they had their own monetary system. So these type of beautiful, amazing stories are there. I mean, like around the city of Jaffna. Yes, Delft Island. So, off the coast of Jaffna are like several islands that we have. So, Delft Island is one of them, one of the favorite places for me to go. So, if you have any clients with a good budget, then if they are staying over at a place like Ulagalla, they can take like a helicopter ride into Delft Island, which would take like 50-55 minutes. Very scenic landscape. Very different to what you would find in the hill country, but like lots of villages, lots of like coastal areas, and then you'll be landing inside Delft Island. So Delft Island was used by the Portuguese back in the day for two reasons actually. So for trading of horses, as you can see in the photo, and then for slaves. So the slaves are gone, and then the horses. I mean, like the Portuguese, when they left Sri Lanka, they just forgot about the Delft Island, and then the horses that we have right now are the direct descendants of the horses that the Portuguese were trading back in the day. So, as a nation, Sri Lanka, we didn't have any horses, but now this is the only place in Sri Lanka where you can find like 1,500 horses just running around in this small island. It's like so beautiful, like it's something that you would not see in a country like Sri Lanka, but in here you get to see lots and lots of horses. And then, apart from that, there are castle ruins, lots of mythical stories. And then, what we do is we fly into Delft with a picnic lunch, and then we jump into a local safari jeep, and then go around the island, stop at a nice beach, and then enjoy the lunch, picnic lunch, and then fly back to your hotel. So if the clients don't have the budget for a helicopter ride, then of course what we do is we take a boat ride. So if the clients are in Jaffna, then of course the boat ride from the mainland to Delft Island would be like 1 hour, 1 hour 15 minutes. So from November to April, Sri Lanka, which some of you might know, who are doing the whale watching experiences on the southern and eastern part of the country, they locate one of their yachts in the northern part. I mean, like in Jaffna. So if that happens, then of course during those months we can charter the yacht and then go to Delft Island, or else we can do like shared boats as well. Amazing place, highly recommended if you're in that part of the country. So Nallur Festival, another festival that I was talking about. So this is a completely different festival to what are the other festivals that I've been talking about. So this festival is happening in August. So I mean, like, if you actually time it correctly during the months of like July and August, you can do some amazing activities in Sri Lanka. So we have the Kandy Asala Perahara Festival happening in July, August. Nallur Festival is happening in August. And then the Elephant Gathering in Min area is happening in July, August. So likewise, there are lots and lots of like hidden type of activities that you can do if your clients are coming in the summer months. So it doesn't have to be Christmas, New Year type of holidays every time for Sri Lanka. There are so many festivals like these scattered around the year. So here, what we try to tell the clients is like this is a Hindu festival, so the Hindu gods are related to this, and then there are thousands and thousands of people who just flock to this festival. And then, oh, another thing that I forgot about the city of Jaffna is like because of Hinduism, some temples require the gents to remove their t-shirts and shirts when entering into the kovils. Not every kovil, but the ancient ones, the guys need to be topless when going into these temples. So Nallur Festival is another great festival that you can go. And sometimes, I mean, like if the clients are a little bit iffy, then of course we tell them to go on specific dates because some dates are like accustomed to how should I say this? So there are like you might have seen some extreme festivals all around the world where people are like hanging from hooks and then like their mouths pierced. So that kind of extreme stuff are happening and on different days. But if the clients are like not in, I mean like not into that kind of things, then of course we can avoid those dates. Jetwing Mahesh Bhavan is the only boutique property that we can recommend. But if once again, if we say T-Trails and Amana, like five-star luxury boutiques, this would be like a good three-star plus boutique that we have. Just four bedrooms, nothing fancy, nothing wow, but like clean rooms. They have got the boutique concept right. And then it's one of the best places that we have in Jaffna. So, coming to a little bit about Hummingbird. So, talking about our vehicle fleet, we do white label everything. I mean, like if you want your client, your company logos, your company magnetic stickers, then no problem at all. Then we do have a wide variety of vehicles that we promote. So, for solo travelers and couples, we do have like the SUVs with the standard SUV being a Honda Vezel or similar. Then, of course, we do have the deluxe SUV, which could be a Kia Sorento or similar, or sorry, the Santa Fe or similar. Then the premium SUV could be a Montero, a Prado, or a Land Cruiser. Then the highest kind of SUV that we have would be the Range Rover or the Discoveries. So for families, we do have the likes of Mercedes-Benz Vitos or Toyota Hiace that we have. So those would be like for the Toyotas would be the standard ones, the Mercedes-Benz would be the luxury ones. And then we do have the Vetu itineraries. So the Vetu itineraries are very interactive itineraries that we provide. We can white label these as well. So if you have been working with us, you know how cool these itineraries are. So many pages, so many hotels and different room categories that you can go and see. Then we do have the guides, which are like the heart and soul of what we do. So we have guide training programs every 3 to 4 months. I mean, we're not going to be teaching them about Sri Lanka because they are already aware of what to like talk to the guests. But what we are trying to tell them is like the trends that are happening in the world, and then what type of accounts that joined up with us, and what are their requirements from different tours. And also, if you have any clients who are not speaking English, we do have like different language speaking guides as well. MICE is a different team that we have where we handle private jet journeys, group tours, private weddings. So, I mean, like we don't do like the 1,500 type of large weddings. But if it is like an intimate wedding, then of course we can be very creative And one final thing about the weddings is like weddings are legal in Sri Lanka in the sense if your clients get married in Sri Lanka, then of course we can provide the wedding certificate, everything legal, all the legal factors can be taken care of. While the guests are on tour, we provide three on-tour updates. So at the beginning of the tour, when the clients arrive and when they go into the hotel, the first hotel, we have a chat with them, and then we ask questions like, "How was your flight? Did you like the vehicle that you went in? How was your guide?" So we ask these questions so that if the clients don't like it, then of course they can come back to us and like tell that. So we do that at the beginning of the tour, halfway through the tour, and at the end of the tour as well. Because as you may have noticed, some clients they don't complain during the tour. If they don't like something, they would just wait until they go home and then unload everything on you. By which time it would be very difficult for us to rectify things, unless otherwise it's like a huge complaint. Because if they told us these things that they didn't like, we could have done something to change that experience. So that's what we want to do by talking to these guests and asking these questions. We do have welcome packs. So the welcome pack for Hummingbird will not just be about itinerary and a guest come sheet. There would be like wraparounds that go into that. So we provide a wraparound because, as you may know, when going into temples, the clients have to cover their shoulders and knees as a show of respect. So what we tell our guests is like, don't worry about what you wear, just wear whatever you want. We will take care of the clothing requirements, because the clients can just throw the wraparound over their shoulder or wrap it around their waist. And then we do provide socks, disposable socks, because they need to remove the shoes when going into the temples as well. Sometimes the floor could be very hot and then dusty as well, so they can use the disposable socks, hand sanitizers, insect repellents. So there's a huge collection of items that we put into the welcome pack as well. So there are standard welcome packs, then there are premium welcome packs. Talk to me about the difference. I'll be happy to let you know. So in the vehicle, we do provide Wi-Fi and then glass bottled water. So we don't use any single-use plastic in any of our tours, and your guests would get the chance to select whether they want still water or sparkling water. And then talk to me if you want to know about the premium and luxury snack packs as well. We stay away from some of the activities that are being promoted in Sri Lanka, like the elephant back rides, bullock cart rides. I mean, like the animals are not treated properly, so we don't want to be. I mean, like we don't want to do anything about these activities. What I mean is like we don't want to be a part of any of these activities. So the final slide for today is like about what we do to give back to the society. So we are a part of the Conscious Travel Foundation, and every tour that you confirm with us, we keep a part of that profit to sponsor an orphan. So SOS Children's Village at the top, what you see, just type it into Google, you'll be able to see the orphanage that we work with. We sponsor these orphan kids meals, accommodation, education, lodging, everything. So it's an amazing cause that we have. So thank you very much for all the bookings that you've been sending our way. So, of course, we do provide opportunities for the clients to be a part of some of the problems that we have in Sri Lanka as well. So, maybe 10 years, 15 years ago, the trends of the tourism industry started changing, where more and more people wanted to, when they're traveling in a local community, they wanted to be a part of the solution for some of the problems that are there. So, we created these projects that the clients can be a part of. Say, for an example, we do have these human leopard conflicts in Yala. So, there are so many projects. I'm not going to talk about all of that. So, I'll just talk about the human leopard conflict that we have in Yala, where the leopards, they come out of the national park at night because there are no, borders or like fencing. So, and they start killing all the cattle in the area. So, the cattle farmers, they set traps and then they start shooting the leopards wherever they see them. So, we don't have leopards to just let go like that. So but unfortunately we can't blame the cattle farmers as well, because it's their lifestyle that they're missing out on. So what we try to do is we provide pens for the cattle farmers, where the farmer can put his cattle in the fence at night and then lock the cage so that the leopards can't get to the cattle at night, and then the farmer can sleep soundly at night, and then he doesn't have to set traps to kill leopards or shoot leopards. So it's kind of a win-win situation. So projects like these would cost like $600, $700. It's not going to break your bank, but like there are so many smaller projects that we can be a part of as well, starting from like 25, $30. Once again, talk to me if you want to know more details. So yeah, that's about it actually. I think we have like 9 minutes for questions if we have.
Thank you. That was great. Very informative. It doesn't look like we have any questions at the moment, but
Lovely.
if anybody has any, feel free to reach out to us. Obviously, we're happy to answer anything. And this webinar was recorded and it'll be up on our YouTube channel, so you can go back and look through any of the slides if you want. And yeah, join us for our next webinar Wednesday. But
Thank you, everyone.
bye.